Hey guys, Kevin Starkey here. So good to be with you. Thanks, Pastor Cody, for having me share one of the devotionals. Today we're talking about Jeremiah 1:5. It's a great verse. Hope that you've had a chance to read through it already, have some thoughts about it. When I study the Bible, I like to just break it down. So I write it out and I break down, what does this part mean? What does this part mean? What does this part mean? It starts with, before I formed you in the womb. Before I formed you in the womb. That means that God was part of creating me. We already know that, but it's important because it says that we're his masterpiece, other places in the Bible. It says that he thinks about us, that he knows everything about us, that he is part of creating who we are. That's an exciting thing. But it says, before I formed you, I knew you. He's beyond time. He knew all about us. He knew my strengths, my weaknesses. He knew what I was about. He knew what my dreams were. He knew where I'd blow it, where I would need to grow. He knew everything about me. And it says that he loves me. He loves me in spite of it all. That gives me great comfort. Well, okay, it says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. So what does it mean to be set apart? It means that you're standing aside from others. It means that something is different about you. Well, what's different? The relationship that you have with God. The fact that Jesus is a part of your life. And not only did he set you apart, he says that I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Now, what does a prophet do? Because that's a big deal. You're a prophet. Do you identify as a prophet? I'm a prophet. You're a prophet. We're all a prophet. What a prophet does is it shares what God is trying to communicate to others, shares the good news of who God is to others. Jesus, when he was on the earth, he was asked a question. Somebody came out to him and said, "Okay, so I get it. There's this whole great big Bible, lots going on there. Is there a way that you can what's the most important part, Jesus? Give me a break here. It's a lot there." And Jesus said, "Well, so this is kind of how you would summarize it. This is the most important thing. Love God and love others. That's the absolute. That's what needs to happen." Other places he talks about what that means, and it's just that idea that we are sent to go and help others. And that's what today's title of our devotional is sent. That you are sent to the nations. Jeremiah calls it a prophet. Jesus says just as a neighbor. This one time I was in church. I was probably 16, 17 years old, and this guy I didn't really know in our youth group. Something that the pastor had said had really connected with him. And he was sitting down in one of the chairs, and he's crying. And not just crying, sobbing. And he's by himself. I felt terrible about it. He's a year younger than me, and I went and I sat next to him. And I was just thinking about, I don't know what he's going through, but it's probably something big. It might be some sin in his life. It might be somebody's passed away. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. But as I started thinking about what could be happening with him and started thinking about my own life and things that are in my life that probably needed to change because I hadn't, why am I not crying over my sin? And God did something, and he put something in me, and all of a sudden I started thinking about it more and more, and I started to cry. And not only was I crying, I was sobbing. So we're sobbing side by side. I don't even know the guy's name really at this point. And when he's kind of done crying, he looks over at me and he says, "It was nice to be crying next to somebody. What are you crying about?" I said, "I don't really know. What are you crying about?" And he told me, and I was able to share some things too. And we became great friends. The point is that being sent, being a neighbor, being somebody's friend, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go and wear some weird clothes and come up with some prophetic verses. It means being kind, caring about others, thinking about others, taking care of their needs, loving on them. So think about this verse today. Are you living your life as a set-apart person? Are you doing something that is different than most? Are you loving on your neighbors? Are you loving God and loving others? I hope that you are, and if you're not, then I hope that you're going to make some changes. I love you guys. It's so hard not to be together. And I hope that you're doing well. Have a great summer. I'll see you when I see you. And thanks again for inviting me. Bye.